Hello and welcome to this episode of Tripology. It's one of the backpacking podcasts available to people who are interested in backpacking podcasts. I'm Alun, and I'm here with the ever lustrous Adam.
Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us for another amazing week. Hope you're having a good one where you are. If you don't know anything about this podcast, we're two backpacking best mates who call each other up and try to make each other laugh. Alan, you're all the way in Tokyo. I'm still hanging around on the South Island of New Zealand. What do you got for us this week, mate?
Well, I described you as lustrous this week because there's a little substance that I think of as being lustrous, and that's called gold. Gold. Yeah, that's right. Because here, where I am in Tokyo, we're about to collide into Golden Week. Do you know anything about Golden Week?
The only thing I do know about Golden Week is that people who live in Tokyo and other areas of Japan say that you should absolutely avoid Golden Week if you're going to be going to Japan as a tourist.
Apparently it gets quite hectic in Golden Week because of all the domestic tourism. Golden Week, interestingly, isn't just one holiday. It's a collection of different public holidays that just so happen to be close together. You've got Children's Day, Greenery Day, some sort of Memorial Day, and Showa Day. They all collide in such close proximity that it makes a bunch of different days, also called, in our language, a week.
What on earth is Greenery Day?
I think it's a day where you celebrate greenery, Adam. But the word Golden Week, or phrase Golden Week if you like, is just created because one movie director, he saw that his profits went sky high during these public holidays because everyone had F all to do and went to the cinema. And on account of that, he was like, this is ever such a golden week, i.e. gold in my pocket. I'm getting so much money because people are watching my films.
Very nice. Do you agree that tourists should avoid Japan at this time? Have you noticed that the streets are absolutely heaving, even more so than usual?
Golden Week's not started for me yet, so I will have to report on that next week. As you can see, I'm still very much a working man. You might have noticed that I've decided to switch up smart casual, and I'm dressed now in casual smart, which is a different vibe, but still in accordance with the rules of my employer.
You look like someone who's turned up to work casual, and they've said, Alan, we did mention in the email that it was smart casual, and you've pulled a tie out your bag and go, oh, fucking hell then, whatever.
Yeah, I've realised you can get away with a lot if you keep a tie in your bag or indeed pocket at all times, because you can really dress up an outfit at a moment's notice.
Yeah. If I put a tie on, is that all right? Yeah, that's fine. That's smart casual, isn't it?
Yeah, I rolled my sleeves down, put some pants on and tied a tie. And from that on, I was acceptable.
I'm really glad to see you, mate, because I have got some big news.
Uh-oh.
Some quite big news, some quite large news that I haven't even told you yet.
Large news? Wow. Well, you should be so lucky.
Large news for you. This week, I am now no longer the owner of a vehicle.
What happened, mate? So either you sold it or
what?
Crashed it.
No, God, I've been driving for 20 years and I've never had an accident. So, touch wood. There we go. I sold the vehicle, mate. I've sold it. I've sold the van. It's gone. Gone to a new owner.
Amazing.
Money is in the bank. All of the stuff is sort of scattered around a number of buildings, and I've got to go through that. I've moved from my apartment into the back of a van, and now I've got to downsize from my van into my backpack.
Well, you've got to. So what, they bought the van with you in it, did they?
No. I've got, that would have been unaffordable. I'm looking at all my shit on the floor here, thinking imminently I'm going to be flying to Asia, and I need to go through this stuff and obviously donate some of it or sell it or whatever else I can do. I'm not going to throw much of it away. There's a couple of books. Do you read? Do you read over there? You got time for reading? I've got a couple of books I can give to you.
I'm very, very bad at reading. Often my strategy if someone buys me a book is to thank them, download the audiobook, and then listen to that while the book's sort of vaguely in the room with me, and then tell them about how I enjoyed the book, but in actual fact, their present of a book just led to me spending my own money on an audiobook version.
Yeah, I'm sure you're not the only one who does that. Can't you just ask for audiobooks instead?
I don't like asking for gifts. I think it's uncouth. Please tell me how your van sale went, mate. Would you like to, describe the person physically, and then maybe after that you can describe him emotionally and interpersonally?
Well, you mentioned emotionally. I won't be describing them physically, but emotionally, it was quite an emotional moment for me because I think I'm still going through it. You know, when you live in a van for 4 months and you have some of the most amazing experiences you've ever had in your life in this thing, a road trip, as anyone listening to this will know, but certainly you, because me and you have done a few road trips ourselves, it becomes more about you and the vehicle you're in as opposed to sort of, what you're doing, where you are, which country you're in and that sort of stuff. So, yeah, I fell in love with that van, and now I'm sort of coming to terms with not having it, even something as silly as like walking out of a car supermarket and seeing it in a parking space would, give me a little, I don't know, bit of a, nice feeling, a glimmer, I think they're called.
Speaking as someone who has been in love before, sometimes it's a difficult proposition, isn't it? When you love let's say something,
Yeah,
like a van.
like a van.
It's difficult, isn't it, to know that someone else is going to love it after you. And while you might be joyful that someone's purchased the van, how does it make you feel knowing that they are going to be falling in love with it?
Actually good. Actually really positive.
And that, my friends, is called polyamory. It's Strapology's word of the week.
So, yeah, anyway, no, I was going to say that it's gone to someone that I know, someone that I met up in Auckland, someone who is very excited about all the adventures they're going to have in it. And it's a very slow transition. So I'm always open. I said, look, if you get any issues, just text me. If you don't know what something is or what it does, just text me. This is going to be a very slow handover.
Get a picture of the gear stick. Okay.
It's automatic actually. Hopefully they'll be fine. But there's still a Strapology.
What is
sticker.
PRNDL? What is this word? Is anglais?
There's a Strapology poster still in the back window, so they're still representing. There's a
so you can't see. You can't see when you look over your shoulder.
You can't see when you look over your shoulder or in the rearview mirror, as you should probably do. But that's not because of the poster. It's because I always keep the curtains of the back window closed. I don't know why that is. There is actually a letterbox cut out of the divider in between the back and the front. But that's just for peeping. Okay,
well, congratulations on the sale. It sounds like a very modern situation that you've got going on, and I'm
progressive.
I think that's to be commended. Yeah, quite progressive. And I hope that the person that's driving the van feels as comfortable with that arrangement as you clearly do. And I hope that they have ever such a good adventure.
They will. I mean, anyone who's sold a vehicle that has meant so much to them, even though it was, not worth that much, really. It's difficult, isn't it, when you're pricing something to think about its the value of the vehicle as opposed to the value of the vehicle plus all of your memories and experiences with it.
Why is this van worth $10,000? Oh, because it means a lot to me.
yeah, it's a strange one, but it's difficult to get through that because I know all of the experiences that they're going to have in the van, and those experiences are what made me think, well, even if I lose money on the van, I don't mind because I've had the time of my life.
Yeah, oh, sorry, the van's a bit expensive. Not when you've had some experiences in here, baby.
I know it sounds mental. Maybe I haven't articulated what I mean very well.
If you actually calculate it by hour of the experiences you're going to have, I mean, when you're in here with someone and you're sharing a romantic glass of wine with the curtains drawn, just think of it, it's only about $2 an hour if you do that for hundreds of hours over the course of the time you have the van.
It's an absolute bargain, but I'm really, really glad to move it on to someone who's going to take good care of it. And it was actually the last piece to the puzzle of me leaving New Zealand, mate. So beware. I'm not that far away now.
Yeah, it was just a van keeping you away from Japan, wasn't it, really? That van was the final, like, wall of my defenses before you come colliding into my life. I kept on having to, like, send people messages, prospective buyers, sending them emails saying, there's rust on the underside. Oh, the gear shift's a bit sticky, just batting them away to buy myself more time to sort out my life here. But unfortunately, this person was quite insistent, and now there's nothing keeping you. You're going to have to come and hang out.
That's it, mate. So money's in the bank. Now I've got the funds to pay for the flight to Japan, where I'm hoping that you've oiled up, greased up, and done whatever else is necessary to your landlord to allow me to kip at your place.
Yeah, no is the answer. He doesn't know that you're coming yet. And actually, more than that, my payment for this month's rent defected because he tried to take it out of my account at 1 a.m. as soon as the day transferred over to the next month. He tried to take the money out of my account and it wasn't there just because I'm using like a separate account that I top up, you know? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like it comes out of Revolut and I top it up and I hadn't topped it up yet because I was expecting maybe he would try and take it out sort of on the first day and not at 1 a.m. So we're in an argument currently, and it seems like it's going to be a challenge for you to come and stay. But I will sort that out soon. I think maybe, mate, we should just, however much you would spend on a hostel, flick me that money, and I'll upgrade to a slightly nicer place. So that might be how it has to work. I'd love to host you, but I mean, simply struggling just to host myself at the moment.
That doesn't sound like a scam at all. Alun, something that we haven't done for a very long time is spoken about our lovely listeners and the fact that they email in and ask us questions. So I think it would be a really good time to go to one of our favourite items on the show.
It's Hostel Common Room.
Hostel Common Room. How many countries you been to, mate?
Imagine, if you will, a sort of beautiful hostel, a palatial space which you can traverse inside, welcomed at the front desk by an attractive volunteer. They show you to your dorm room. You pack your bag out, you unpack it, you sort of hang your towel up on the side of the bed where you climb up, put your bag in a locker, and then you think, let me check out the common space. You go outside, you drift, you meander through the kitchen to an area that opens up, and right there in front of you are two sort of characters, one bearded with a tie, one with right floppy hair and headphones, and the two of them are talking, discussing, and you think, I want to ask those guys a question. That's what we offer you here at Tripology, that exact experience. You can do it by going to our contact form, the link to which you can find in the show notes or description.
The reason I'm giggling is because before the show, I mentioned how awful my hair looks, and I said to Alun, we're going to have to mention my hair. We're going to have to address it because I can't go live on air without saying something. It's too long. It's unkempt. It's just not a style. It's just grown out. And yeah, I mean, if you're watching the video.
And what did I say, Adam, in response to that?
You said, Adam, you mention your hair every single week. I think we should go 1 week where we give the listeners what did you say? Give them a week off or something talking about your hair. I said
give them a week off, yeah. And then I transgressed in mentioning it very briefly in an otherwise interesting monologue. And it's led to what can only be described as at least 40-second meandering through the lane of your follicles. But as your nan said, nice that you've got them.
Yeah, that, well, you know, I knew you were going to squeeze it in somewhere. You can't resist. We have had an email from a fellow backpacker, a fellow traveller. Very interesting one, actually, and I'm sure this is one that will spark very interesting conversation. It is from Baptiste, and Baptiste says, Hey both, I love Tripology and have been listening for the last year. I'm 32, living in London for the last 7 years, and after travelling across nearly 50 countries, I still have a big pull to leave corporate life for 6 to 12 months or longer to travel or work overseas again. What holds me back primarily is the pressure that comes with being in your 30s. I'd love to hear how you, as travellers in your 30s, think about things like Point number 1, handling the social pressure to settle down instead of travel. 2, the fear of missing career opportunities or falling behind peers. Number 3, balancing saving, investing for the future versus spending money on travel. Number 4 is missing friends and family milestones while away long term. And number 5, avoiding staleness in long-term travel. Do you set goals or structure while traveling? I sometimes find that after a few months, the novelty can fade. I imagine there are others in a similar position, so I wondered if this could make a good podcast episode. He's not wrong.
Baptiste, you wonderful, sexy 32-year-old backpacker pondering all of life's questions. Yeah, I like to think of Baptiste there. He wants to travel. He's bought a backpack. He's got his packing cubes, but he's all riddled with anxieties about it. What I would say to you, Baptiste, in a very succinct manner is the following. I think the pressures of sort of being in your 30s, you got to do stuff, they are mitigated if you hang around with other 30-year-olds who are doing unconventional things. If you're hanging around with 30-year-olds who are all in office garb, like me, working in for other people, employed, they've got taxes and pensions and all that jazz, you're going to feel like, oh, maybe I'm falling behind. But if you hang out like me, all my friends now, they're like travel people, all my best friends. And so on accounts of that, I don't feel any pressure or judgment from them because they just are all about what I'm doing. They think it's really cool and we share stories, and I think it's a really interesting thing. And I also think that you're only falling behind in career opportunities, really, whilst you're traveling, if you're traveling wrong. I mean that really wholeheartedly. Traveling has forwarded my career in all the ways that are meaningful to me. Like, I am interested in like audio production and podcasting, so I do a travel podcast. I'm interested in music, so I do other things that are musical. I'm interested in animals, so I've like done things in animal wildlife rehab that I couldn't have done if I wasn't traveling. So in many, many ways, traveling done correctly forwards your career more than just, doing a job for someone else sort of on a very railed track might do.
I do agree with that. I do agree with that wholeheartedly. If I use me as an example, travel has accelerated my career because I've been able to achieve jobs in markets where there's less competition. So if you use sort of London in this example, or even Europe, if I was to go for the same job in Europe, there'd be sort of 200 people applying for the same role who are more qualified, highly educated, probably speak multiple languages and more experienced. So I wouldn't even get a look in. But if you go somewhere like Canada or New Zealand or Australia, where there are just less people in the market, the pool of people to choose from, you can end up getting a job that's much sort of higher in terms of the pay or responsibilities, and you just keep on moving up. So I don't know where the feeling of that sort of comes from. I don't think we really think about looking elsewhere in order to further our careers. But I do, from my experience, certainly, if you go somewhere with the right attitude and you're willing to take a bit of a risk, then it can accelerate your career and then some, and then you just go from strength to strength.
I think what happens sometimes, I do think it's a bit of a mistake, but it's really, really normal, is people are excited about traveling. So they think of traveling as this monolith, like, I want to travel. Travel is the thing I want to do. And if you do that, sure, you'll have a great time. You'll see a bunch of amazing things. But that other thing you mentioned, the staleness of long-term travel, it will set in. And maybe people don't make that clear. When you see like amazing, sexy travel influencers riding sharks, you might think, oh, how could that ever get stale? But that's because it's a snapshot, right? And the reality is, if you're traveling, it is going to get stale. Like, I promise you, it's going to get stale. You're going to get bored. That temple will get boring. That shark will be less surfable. That beach won't hit the spot anymore. That is going to happen. So really what you should do is decide that you want traveling to be a part of your life. Find the other things that you're interested in. Find the other things that tick your boxes, whether it's language learning, food and drink, music, teaching, animals, dancing. Find the thing that gets you going and find a way for travel to be a vector for those interests. That's how travel is sustainable. If it acts as the medium and not the object, then it doesn't get stale because you're using it rather than having it use you. You're not just seeking experience after experience. You're seeking a fulfilling life, and you're using travel as the search engine.
Yeah, what he said. Definitely, if your travel objectives can sort of be facilitated by an industry or a passion, and that's what takes you around the world, then it absolutely is sustainable. You just need to sort of find out, have one eye on the future. I think we should come to that point, mate, after you very succinctly and comprehensively answered that one. The balance in saving versus investing for the future. What's our advice there? I mean, my relationship with money is, what's the word? Pretty fluid. I mean, it comes, it goes. I'm sort of someone who likes to work short-term contracts and then blow the money I do save on more travel. And even though I said to myself at the very beginning, that isn't a sustainable model, it is what sustained travel. So
yeah, you also might be dead in the future. Like,
yeah.
I'm sorry, Batiste, and obviously I hope you're not, and I hope you live a long and fulfilling life, and the same for you, Adam, and I hope that for myself. But the reality is, the only thing that you have is the present. The future is an idea, and the past is a memory, and what is actually happening to you right now is right now. And at some point, you're going to have to spend some money to take control of that. You can invest for the idea of a future that you think you definitely will have, but in actual fact you might have, and that's great and smart, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that, but at some point you've got to look at what's happening to you right now in the moment and take control of it in the way that you want to do. I personally think if you invest on yourself right now and you have things that you want to do and you want to use travel as the search engine to find them, you should spend money on doing that, build the life that you actually want to live, set that up, and then find ways to invest for your future once you've got that bit sorted. But living a life that you think is vaguely insufferable or intolerable or just about tolerable enough to carry on doing it because it gives you money enough to invest in the life that you think that you want to have in the future, the idea that you have. I mean, no one, when they're picturing themselves in the future, imagines themselves fucking miserable because they're hoping that their present self would sort them out. But I don't even know if I'll have control of my bladder in 50 years' time, let alone like if I want to invest. I don't want to invest in that guy.
Hopefully I will.
I want to invest in this guy that I am now, right? And another thing that people forget is that if you saved and had all this money, if you like planned your life so that you had all that money in 30 years' time, you put it all away so that in 30 years' time you had a bunch of cash. You've heard people say this before. It's like a common thing people say, but you would give all that money away then to feel as good as you do now. So it's actually worth nothing, that money, isn't it? Because you want to be how you are now again. 60-year-old me would spend all this cash to feel as good as 30-year-old me, and I'm convinced of that.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you've said that, mate, because now I feel like I've got license to open up a little bit. And not that we're trying to be morbid or anything, but there's a very, very personal reason why I travel so much. And it's kind of in that vein, really, because I have thought about this sort of stuff for a long time and been worried about the future in terms of sort of health or deterioration and getting old and that sort of thing. And I know that sounds like a ridiculous thing for a sort of 20-year-old or 25-year-old or 30-year-old to even think. But the reality is, I read an article last year which said that the healthy living age in the UK is 61. So, of course, the average life expectancy is much higher than that. It's probably 80, 85, whatever. But the healthy life expectancy is 61, which means at 61, things start to go wrong on average, which is actually before the age of retirement. So I know now, and this is where the sort of present day thing comes in and investing in yourself now. I know that tomorrow morning I can get up and do a 10K, just like that. I know that I can climb a mountain. I know that I can, go and do loads of different things that require physical activity, because I've got 2 arms that work, 2 legs that work, 2 eyes, 2 ears, I haven't got 2 noses, but you get what I'm saying, is that the whole time you're healthy and you have the appetite to travel, you have to do it now, because it is only going to get harder and it's only going to get more expensive. And those 2 things have to be true. They are absolutely true.
Yeah. And you having anxiety about that and thinking, oh God, yeah, but it's all well and good saying that, but what if A, B, or C happens? I want to have a nest egg, all that stuff. I'm not shitting on that idea. I do think there's a time and a place for being conservative. I'm very conservative with my money in that I don't spend very much, so that I don't have to save very much. But the reality is, you feel that way for a reason to some extent. It's because from the age of 4 years old, you were put into a school which was institutionalized to make you a good worker, 9 to 5, get up, get an education, go to sleep, so that in your future you can get up, go do a job, go to sleep, repeat. So you're useful for the economy, so you're useful to society, so that you'll carry on working yourself to death, so that at 61, when you're just about finished with your work, but you're just about too fucked up to enjoy your life, just then we'll relinquish you and have a pension and go and enjoy the rest of your days. But that ain't the time for that. Now's the time to enjoy your life. So I would just put all your resources into trying to enjoy the life you live now. Which brings us to Baptiste's last point, I would say, which is the one that I think is the most legitimate of a worry, which is missing out on big things for friends and family occasions, relationships. I mean, yeah, the reality is, if you're traveling a long time, you're going to miss that time with your family. And that is an unavoidable consequence of choosing, perhaps selfishly, to live for yourself. I can just say that in my experience, I'm closer with my family in a huge way. I'm closer with my family now than I ever was living at home. And I mean that on a quality time spent perspective, in terms of I spend more time with them and more intentional time with them when I do see them. I mean that in terms of a day-to-day perspective, in that I call them more and talk to them more. And I mean that on interpersonal, psychological, emotional level, in that I feel closer to them and have more love and understanding for them each as individuals. So just do with that information what you will, basically. I think that although you'll almost certainly spend less time in your family and loved ones' physical presence, there are ways around that in terms of the time you spend with them and the quality time that you invest in them. So with that, Baptiste, I hope you leave the Hostel Common Room feeling all emboldened and happy. And I really hope that you do take the plunge and go away for 6 months, 12 months, see how you like it, but do it with intentionality to try and pursue other things in your life. I don't want to promote mindless, aimless travel for the sake of traveling, because I think that's all well and good when you're fresh out of college and you don't know what to do with your life. And that's certainly kind of what I did. But I realized after just a few years that wasn't very fulfilling. So I think travel with intention and travel well. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you.
Thanks ever so much, mate. Thank you for writing in. We really appreciate it. It was a lovely question, and we hope you found the answer useful. Alan, we've got to go off to the Lost and Found section now, where hopefully you're going to tell us a cheeky little anecdote from what you've been up to over in Tokyo.
Oh, well, I hope so. I'll think of one right quick. I'll see you there. Patreon. It's just spend a little bit of money, perhaps the cost of a stick of deodorant or a microphone stand or even a bottle of fizzy water, just a nominal fee. And you can come and join us over on Patreon. The link's in the description. In the Lost and Found section, we talk about all kinds of nonsense, and we hope to see you there.
Thanks ever so much, guys. We'll see you there. Bye-bye.
Bye.